The factors which influence the business environment, that is called business environment. Monetary policy is all about managing of money, where the RBI is going to decide the rate of interest and supply of money towards the society, where they can have the control on the development of the society. What is this EXIM policy? It's all about import and export policy. What is this macro environment? Macro environment, uncontrollable, which is not possible to control by the business entities. Hello everyone, I am Arun Kumar, lecturer in Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Dear students, welcome to this new session. In this session, we will be solving the model question paper on the subject Business Environment, which is there for second sem B.B.A students who are studying under University of Mysuru. So dear students, in this particular session, we will be discussing about the model question paper relating to the subject Business Environment. So what is the total marks for the final exam? Yes, they'll be asking for 60 marks. So you're going to write the exam for 60 marks. And what is the question paper pattern? The question paper pattern is, you'll be having 3 sections, part A, part B and part C. Total you'll be having part A, part B and part C. See, in part A, he'll be asking you 2 marks questions. He'll be asking 5 questions. So 2 marks into 5 questions. So he'll be asking for 10 marks. Next, part B, he'll be asking 10 marks questions. He'll be asking 10 marks question into he'll be asking 2 questions. So how many questions you'll be asking? You'll be asking 2 questions. So 20 marks. In part C, you'll be asking 15 marks questions. 15 marks, 2 questions. So totally for 30 marks. So in part A, you'll be asking 5 questions which carries 2 marks each, totally for 10 marks. In part B, you'll be asking 2 questions which carries 10 marks each, totally for 20 marks. And in part C, you'll be asking 2 questions which carries 15 marks each, totally for 30 marks in part C. So totally for 60 marks. So the pattern is part A, part B and part C, and the total weightage of the paper is 60 marks, and you'll be attending for 60 marks in your main exam. On which chapter you're supposed to give more importance? See, totally we have 5 units. In this particular subject, in business environment, we have 5 units. So in that 5 units, on which unit you are supposed to give more importance? So how much of marks you can score by giving importance to each particular unit? If you concentrate more on unit 1, 2 and 3. If you concentrate more on unit number 1, 2 and 3, yes, obviously you are going to score a very decent marks. For 60 out of 60 you can score. If you concentrate more on first 3 units, you can score 60 out of 60. And still, if you want to be more confident to attend the exam, you can also study unit 4 and 5. So just by studying unit number 1, unit 2 and unit 3, you can score 10% marks, that is 60 out of 60 plus 40 in your internals. Totally you can easily score 100 marks in this subject by studying first 3 units. If you want to be more confident to write the exam, yes, obviously you have to study all the 5 units. And if you want to become an entrepreneur and if you want to know more about what are the factors are going to affect our business, then obviously you have to study all 5 subjects to gain the knowledge. But from the exam point of view, you should have to concentrate more on first 3 units. So let us move on to solving the questions under each section. So part A, yes, obviously part A deals with 2 marks question. In part A, you'll be asking 7 questions. Out of 7, you are supposed to attend any 5 questions which carries 2 marks each. So in part A, answer any 5 of the following questions. Each question carries 2 marks. So you will be attending 5 questions which carries 2 marks, totally for 10 marks. So first question, he might ask you to define the term business environment. Yes, it is very easy to define the term business environment. What is business environment? The different environments which affects the business is called business environment. So which are those environments? Micro environment, macro environment, that is internal, external, and in that micro and macro we have some other subdivisions of environment, so that you can explain and you can score 2 marks. So how you can write the exam for that question? See, business environment refers to all those internal and external factors that influence the business. It includes number of factors which is influence on the business. Some factors are favorable and some factors are neutral. The business environment refers to all the internal and external environments which influence the business, whether it influences the business on positively or negatively. But the factors which influence the business environment, that is called business environment. Just by writing this, you can score 2 marks easily. So which question you might ask next? So what is the impact of fiscal policy on business? You might ask this question. You need not explain it very briefly. You need not explain it very in depth. Just you have to write the impact of fiscal policy on your business. So the development of various regions, sectors and industries. Yes, it is going to help the business in improvement of the business sector, whether it's a business sector or other industries. Next, government often use tax incentives and disincentives to encourage, discourage certain activities. So by using this kind of things, like the fiscal policy is all about the financial aspects, deciding of interest rates, deciding of tax rates. So how it is going to impact on business, whether it's positively or negatively, that you have to explain in few words. Next, you might ask you, define the term monetary policy. Yes, he might ask you to define the term monetary policy. So monetary policy is the macroeconomic policy laid down by the central bank. It involves management of money supply and interest rate. So in India, monetary policy of the RBI is aimed at managing quantity of money in order to meet the requirements of different sectors of the economy and the increased phase of economic growth. So monetary policy is all about managing of money, where the RBI is going to decide the rate of interest and supply of money towards the society, where they can have the control on the development of the society. So that is all about the monetary policy. And they might also ask you to write the meaning of legal environment. What is legal environment? So what is legal environment? The legal environment is the principle of law provides uniformity and certainty to the administration of the justice. Legal system of a country is formed by the government. Yes, the laws which are passed by the government for business operations is caused legal environment, such as the Sales of Goods Act 1930, Indian Companies Act 1956, Income Tax Act 1961, Consumer Protection Act 1986 and the Weight and Measures Act 1958. So just you have to write what is the meaning of legal environment and which are the acts, the few acts comes under legal environment. So what is legal environment? It is the rule or the principle made by the government which are supposed to be followed by the business entities in order to protect the consumers and to protect the economical developments. Next, I might ask you to write a note on management of technology. Yes, what is management of technology, I might ask you. Okay, so what is management of technology? Reduced cost of operation, new products and new market creation, and adoption to changes in scale and format. Next, improved customer services and continuous development of technology. So management of technology, it's all about taking the advantage of technology in our business process. That is called management of technology. If we are adopting our technology so that we can reduce the cost in our business and we can introduce the new products by using our technology, and adoption of changes in scale and format, that is in production scale we can adopt the changes, and improved customer services. Yes, obviously if you are into social media, if you are into electronic media, so that you can have a rapport with your customers on regular basis. State the advantages of globalization. Yes, you might also ask you to write the advantages of globalization. You need to write 2 or 3 points. That is enough to score 2 marks. So if you go globally, you can create wider market to your products. Rapid industrialization will happen in a particular country. Next, greater specializations and higher production and high standards of living. So these are all the advantages of globalization, and if you write this many, you will easily score 2 marks. Next one, which are the laws affecting Indian business? Yes, which are the laws affecting Indian business? So as we discussed in legal environment, those laws if you are going to write, that is more than sufficient to score 2 marks. So which are those laws? Sales of Goods Act 1930, Sales of Goods Act 1930, and Indian Companies Act 1956, Income Tax Act 1961, Consumer Production Act 1986, and the Weights and Measures Act 1958, Environment Protection Act 1986, Agricultural Policy, Industrial Policy, Foreign Investment Policy, Monetary Policy, the Factories Act 1948, the Minimum Wages Act 1948. So these are all the different laws which we have and which impact on our business. In this many laws, if you are going to write 4 to 5 laws, that is very sufficient. So easily you can keep in mind about the Labour Act and Indian Companies Act, Income Tax Act, Monetary Policy. So if you keep in mind these 4 laws, easily you can score 2 marks. Next, moving on to part B. So in part B, you will be asking 4 questions. You are going to answer any 2 questions which carries 10 marks each. So answer any 2 of the following questions. Each question carries 10 marks. So you will be asking 4 questions and you will be answering any 2 questions which carries 10 marks each. So totally for 20 marks in part B. So you might ask you to define the process of environmental analysis. So you might ask you to define the process of environmental analysis. So first you are supposed to write the meaning of environmental analysis. Then you are supposed to write the process, the steps under environmental analysis. So what is environmental analysis? It is a process of identifying. It is a process of identifying the relevant factors that have a direct or indirect impact or effective and efficient functioning of the business. So in other words, environmental analysis is a strategic tool. It is a process to identify all the external and internal elements which can affect the organization's performance. So what we will do in environmental analysis, we are going to identify the internal and external factors which are going to affect the performance of the business. That is called environmental analysis. So under this analysis, totally we have 4 steps. So which are those? Scanning, monitoring, forecasting, and assessment. So you have to write these 4 steps as well as you are supposed to explain these 4 steps. So scanning, monitoring, forecasting, and assessment. So if you write this much, easily you can score 10 marks. So moving on to the next question. Explain IT revolutions in business environment. Yes, we are supposed to know about IT revolutions, and we already know about it because we are into social media, we are using all different kinds of gadgets. So by that we will be knowing the IT revolutions which are happening in India. So you are supposed to write the IT revolutions with respect to your business environment. So provides new ways to design organizations that can lead to structure like T-form organizations. What is T-form organization? Technology based form organization. And next, creates new relationship between the customer and the supplier. Yes, obviously. And enables tremendous efficiencies in production and service industries. Yes, obviously. It provides the tremendous efficiency with respect to the production and service industry and changes the basis of competition and industry structure, for example, in the airline and security industries. Yes, by using this technology, information and technology, we can adopt the changes and we can bring the changes in our business. Next, provides mechanisms through groupware for coordinating work, creating a work knowledge based of organizational intelligence, and contributes to the productive and flexibility of knowledge workers, and provides the manager with electronic alternative to face-to-face communication and supervision. So these are all the IT revolutions with respect to our business environment. So by adopting the IT, information and technology, in our business, so we can bring this many changes in our business and we can move forward and we can expect good future to our business in future. Next, we might ask you to write how natural environment will impact on business. Yes, how natural environment will impact on our business. So here, it is going to impact on business with respect to different factors. With respect to manufacturing, how the natural environment is going to affect. With respect to mining activities, how the natural environment is going to affect. Next, with respect to agriculture, trade, transportation and communication, and technology. So with respect to these factors, how this natural environment is going to affect, that you are supposed to write in the exam. Next question. So critically evaluate EXIM policy. So what is this EXIM policy? It's all about import and export policy. So what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to evaluate what is EXIM policy. So what you are supposed to write? First you are supposed to write the meaning of EXIM policy. So EXIM policy is also known as foreign trade policy. So EXIM policy is renewed every year on the 31st March and revisions, improvements and new proposals become effective from 1st of April every year. EXIM policy refers to the policy measures adopted by the country with reference to its export and import. It's regulated by the Foreign Trade Development and Regulations Act 1992. So this you are supposed to write as the meaning for EXIM policy. Next, the objectives you are supposed to write. What are the objectives of EXIM policy? Why it is came into existence? Why this EXIM policy is there? How the suppliers or the business entities is going to get the benefit through this EXIM policy. And you are also supposed to write the impact of EXIM policy on our business. What will be the impact of this EXIM policy on our business? Whether it's going to impact negatively or positively. What are the advantages you are going to get through this EXIM policy? So this many informations you are supposed to write to score 10 marks. Next, moving on to part C. So in part C, you'll be asking 4 questions. In part C, you'll be asking 4 questions which carries 15 marks each. You're supposed to attend 2 questions, 15 each, totally for 30 marks. You'll be asking 4, you'll be attending 2 questions where you'll be scoring 30 marks in part C. So answer any 2 of the following questions. Each question carries 15 marks. Yes. He might ask you to write or to discuss the various factors that affects the business environment. Yes, he might ask you to write the various factors which affect the business environment. Very easy, need not to worry about it, because if you know the factors which affect the business environment, then easily you can learn other units like unit 2, unit 3, unit 4 and unit 5. Because these 4 units consist of all the different environments which affects the business environment. So you are supposed to explain about internal environment, external environment. First you are supposed to explain about internal environment. So what is internal environment and which are the factors comes under internal environment? See, value of the company or the internal rules and regulations of the company. These all things will comes under internal environment. External environment. So under external environment, we have 2 types. One is micro, another one is macro environment. So what is this micro environment? Micro environment is within, which are controllable. So for example, suppliers, customers, these people comes under micro environment. Next, macro environment. So what is this macro environment? Macro environment, uncontrollable, which is not possible to control by the business entities. For example, political environment, legal environment, right, economical environment, technological environment, natural environment. These items comes under macro environment. So you're supposed to write the internal environment and external environment. In external environment, macro environment and micro environment. Next, he might ask you to explain the concept of MNC, that is multinational companies. Yes, he might ask you to explain the concept of multinational companies. So for this, first you are supposed to write the meaning of multinational companies. What is multinational companies? So the companies which are having the branches in different countries and having the management in home country is called multinational company. The company which is having the different branches in other countries and having the management in own country, in home country, it is called multinational company. So where that company will be operating in multi places, in different places of different countries, that is called multinational company. So after giving the meaning of multinational company, MNCs, you are supposed to mention the merits of multinational companies. So what and all the advantages are there with respect to multinational companies. And you are also supposed to mention the demerits of multinational companies. It's not only we have the advantages, we also have the disadvantages in multinational companies. So which are those disadvantages? For example, high competition. If you go multinational, obviously there will be more competition. You have to struggle a lot to find a place to your product, right? So we just not have only the advantages, we also have some disadvantages. Next, after that, you are supposed to mention the reasons for growth of multinational companies. Yes, what are the reasons for growth of multinational companies? Nowadays, we are finding n number of multinational companies. So other country people are coming and starting their business in India. So what is the reason and what is the advantage we are getting? That you are supposed to explain. So first you are supposed to explain the meaning of multinational company. Then you are supposed to write the merits of multinational company. Then you are supposed to write the demerits of multinational company, and then reasons for growth of multinational company. If you write this much, easily you can score 15 marks. Next, you might ask you to write what is globalization and what are the features of globalization. Yes, you might ask you to write the meaning of globalization and the features of globalization. So first you are supposed to write the globalization meaning, what it exactly means. So at a broad level, globalization refers to the growing economy interdependence among countries reflected in the increasing cross-border flow of goods, services, capital and technology and also know-how. At the level of a specific company, globalization refers to the degree to which competitive position is determined by the ability of leverage physical and intangible resources and market opportunities across the country. So globalization, it's nothing but going globally. Okay, the person, they can start the business wherever they want. A person can start the business wherever they want. That is called globalization. In the present era, we are supposed to go globally in order to adopt the new technology, in order to take the financial assistance from other investors and to adopt the new skills and all. Obviously, we have to go globally. Next, the features of globalization. You have to mention these many features, the several things to several people. Yes, whatever you want, you will get from other persons where if you go globally. Next, integration of world economy into the used market and removal of all trade barriers. Foreign direct investment up to 51% of foreign equity is allowed. Next, automatic permission provided to high priority industries to up to 1 crore and free flow of goods and services in any country and free flow of capital and technology. Rupee has been made fully convertible and tax and tariffs duties modified. So these are all the features of globalization. This many features you are supposed to write. If you write this much, easily you can score 15 marks in main exam. Next, he might ask you to write, critically examine the new industrial policy of India. So he might ask you to write, to examine the new industrial policy of India. So first you have to write the meaning of industrial policy. So industrial policy is nothing but the policies which are framed by the government where the business entities are supposed to follow those policies where it will be beneficial for the industry as well as for the employees. Next, you are supposed to write the objectives. After writing the meaning, you have to write the objectives of new industrial policy. So what are the objectives of new industrial policies? Rapid industrialization of the country and increase employment opportunities in private sectors and improve balance of payment promoting exports and ensure profitability in the public sector and encourage entrepreneurship. So these are all the objectives of new industrial policies. Next, you also supposed to write the impact of new industrial policy. So how it's going to impact on a business or on the economy. So raising income, changing the structure of the economy, meeting high income demands, overcoming deterioration in this term of trade, next employment generation, bringing technological progress and strengthening the economy. So these are all the impact of new industrial policy on businesses and the economy. So this is how you're supposed to write the impact of new industrial policy on economy and the business entities as well as the employees. So this is how you're supposed to attend questions. So with this, I'm at the end of this session. So in this session, we discussed about how a model question paper will be and which are the questions you might get in your exam. I can't assure you that you'll get 100% of questions what I discussed in today's session, but I can assure you, you'll get more than 70% of these questions in your main exam. So study well, score good marks. So at the end, I would like to say all the very best to all who are going to write their exam. Thank you all for watching.